We are rocking and rolling. Hey, we'll start with a cheers. Cheers to
Cheers.
Tanner from
Hello.
1 Second of Strength. I'll let you introduce. You can introduce
Sure.
yourself.
I'm Tanner. I have a company called 1 Second of Strength, and it's really about helping teenagers, young adults, and you overcome the challenges you're facing. I believe that you are in control of your life, and sometimes all it takes is one little second of strength to get back control when everything feels like it's going sideways. So
I love it. That's a beautiful intro. We are, you know me, I'm Taylor. We're trying out Bai. I've never had this before. Tanner just took a sip.
it's pretty solid. I'm not going to lie.
We go 1 to 10 rating.
I feel hydrated
I feel
already.
It's healthy, clean water.
There's not a single artificial sweetener.
My wife and I were talking about antioxidants as well. Like, when you think antioxidant, what is it really doing for you?
Well, it's taking away all of those oxidants, of course.
And less inflammation. I mean,
I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, it's a solid 8. I'd drink it again.
I'm going to give it a 7.
Okay.
I feel like for coconut water, really tasty. I haven't had that many coconut waters, though.
I like it.
All right. That was a good taste test. So, Tanner, I'm excited about just hearing. I haven't had the chance to ask more about your story. We've worked together in the supplement world, and then all of a sudden Tanner had left to do his business. We weren't
I was
necessarily
gone.
Yeah, you were gone. We weren't necessarily super close, but I hadn't heard really anything about your story, and I just thought you had an inspiring, without knowing much, I'm like, hey, I love that you went and did that. You left this nice big corporate supplement job, and I first just wanted to hear more about your story. Like what, obviously what your company is, but why you left and how it happened.
I mean, for years, I'd been building this motivational speaking business on the side of what I was doing, and which I advocate for everyone, like having a side hustle, having something you're really passionate about. In fact, Arthur Brooks, who's a author, he said that one of the keys to happiness is meaningful work. And I think sometimes what happens is we get going, and when we get really, really comfortable in life, like work stops being meaningful. And so I started building this motivational speaking business on the side where I go into schools and I speak to teenagers, particularly to teenagers, helping overcome the challenges they're facing, a lot of cell phones, a lot of, digital distractions, overcoming comparison, self-doubt. And so I'd had this like meaningful like piece of my life that was really like starting to grow and starting to get stronger and stronger and stronger. But what I found was as I continued to be in the job I was in, I couldn't fully go all in to the life I really wanted to live. And I think that from an entrepreneur perspective, it's one of the most dangerous places you can be because it's that comfort. And you start to feel really, really good with where you're at. Yeah. But where you're at isn't really where you want to be, And so it's like this thought that everything that got you there is exactly what's going to keep you there. And so to become the person you really want to become, whether that's to grow a business, whether that is, to build a brand, a personal brand, whatever it is, to really get to where you want to go, at some point you got to go, right? And you got to cut loose. And there's a quote that I love that says, a man who's drowning will do almost anything to find air. And I wasn't drowning. I was really comfortable. I was making a good 6-figure salary on top of, a speaking business that was bringing in some income, and like we were pretty good. We're pretty comfortable. And I had a conversation with my wife one day, and I just said, "Hey, if I really want to become what I think this can become, who I can become, what this business can become, helping as many people as we can, I have to leave my job." And she went, "What about Cooper's Braces?"
Yeah. How many kids do you have again?
We have 4 kids.
4 kids.
Oldest just graduated college, high school. And so like she started like, what about? And I said, hold on. I don't need the what abouts. I need the hows. How do we do this? How do we go from where we're at today to where we want to be? And the reality is when you open your mind to how, things really start falling into place. And it may not be exactly what you thought, but but what is constrictive? How is additive to your life? And so we just started kind of going, okay, how do we do this? And about 6-7 months later, I said goodbye to the company I had worked at for 6 years, the longest place I'd ever been anywhere, and dove into this world of just all-in motivational speaking and helping people.
Yeah. Oh, it's amazing. And like my initial question is, I'm thinking of a buddy who I have right now who was just laid off. Okay. Trying to figure out like, finding that, because you're like, it seemed like you knew. It seemed like you had this side hustle that I wanted to go out and get, I wanted to go do. And so I think a lot of entrepreneurs are like, yeah, there's this thing and I want to go get it. But how did you even know that, like, this motivational speaking, like there's something there? How did you even know that was it?
Well, I think it's tapping into the passions, right? And it wasn't the passion of 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago. It was the passion of really when I was young. So, and I think if you can align the passions and the things that you really enjoy with your work, your career, your mission, and I think a lot of times we equate like work, career, mission with like finances.
Yeah.
And obviously you have to take care of your family and you have to take care of yourself or whatever to survive. But at some point, if you can just move towards what you love and what you're passionate about, it takes the place of some of that financial stuff. And so that's why like a side hustle is so important, right? Because it's like you can do the thing you have to do while you do the thing you want to do. And for a friend who's been laid off, the challenge is that I would say is, well, what do you love?
Yeah.
And you may have to take a couple of steps backwards to really move forward in your life. But sometimes that small step, right, the smallest step in the right direction, that's what ends up being the biggest step in your life.
Yeah.
But some people are just way too scared to do it, right?
Yeah. So and I think hopefully everybody, I'm just thinking of that other person right now where it's like, do they know what they love? But I like how you said, even going back to your childhood, it's like what passion did I have? What thing drove me then? I think that's a great place to start on like deciding where to go, even if you're a little bit, you've just been comfortable in that job and you haven't pushed yourself to try something.
I think that happiness in life is derived from growth and creativity. And if you think about the times in your life where you've been unhappy in a job, relationships, whatever it is, it's because you stopped growing and you stopped being creative. You stopped pushing yourself. You stopped driving yourself. And so when we default into comfort, we lose joy. And so you have to move forward in that. And for me, like when I, tap into what I used to love, like when I was 12 years old, what I loved was playing the guitar. And when I was 15, 16 years old, I loved writing music. And then when I was in college, I had a band that was terrible, but I loved being on a stage.
Yeah.
Right? And so you kind of go forward, I don't want to say how old I am, but you go forward a few years and it's like, well, now I'm on a stage doing something a little bit different than being a rock star, which is what I thought I was going to be.
Yeah.
But I'm doing something a little bit different, but I'm still tapping into a passion that I had when I was 17 years old, right?
Yeah.
And so, and not everybody's going to be a motivational speaker. Not everyone's going to go speak in schools. Not everybody's going to do that. But what is it that brings you joy? Maybe it's relationships. Maybe it's connection. Maybe it's just being creative or building something or helping somebody else build something. There's always an avenue or a path that you can do.
Yeah.
And maybe it's something you do on the side while you do the things that you have to do to provide for your family. So
yeah, no, I love it. And you can't, and this is question number 2. I want to hear your journey here of like, obviously you had a good job. Your wife was scared to take the leap, I assume.
Yep.
And I assume you were as well. And it's like, okay, you're asking yourself, how do we get there? Maybe it is a step backwards. Obviously, I think if you can side hustle and like make it a more obvious decision financially too, that's great. But yeah, tell me the I guess those tough decisions there and how you did go for it, how you did overcome the house. How did you make the house happen?
Well, the business itself is called 1 second of strength, right? So like part of it, in fact, I'm writing a book right now, and I'm going through reading the manuscript and like making edits and doing all the things that I need to do. And I'm like, oh, this is what I need right now. Like, I need to read this part of this book because it's for me.
Inspiring yourself.
But the premise behind the 1 second of strength is that you have the power in 1 second to overcome those emotions, to overcome those challenges, to face fear and find courage and step forward. And so the premise behind leaving my job and starting and doing all this stuff started every time with 1 little second of strength. Having the conversation with my boss and going, hey, I think I'm done here.
Yeah.
That's scary. Having a conversation with your boss and saying, hey, I need a raise, or whatever it may be, all of it is really scary.
Yeah.
But it all starts with that moment. And so to go from, and you talk about the how. Well, I was building this on the side, right? Like I was getting into schools and I was speaking and I was, and like I probably becoming addicted to helping people. And when you get a message from a teenager who says, after you go and speak at their school and they say, hey, I didn't realize that I was struggling so bad and social media was the issue. Thank you for coming to my school today. You saved my life. When you get that message in your inbox, you go, this is bigger than me. This is way bigger than me. And so, but to go from where I was to the how, it was really about just opening my mind and going, okay, well, is it a little bit of extra work here? Is it, are there other pieces of financial, stability that we can lean on? Can we cut expenses in a certain way? Like where's the ebbs and flows and the balances that we can decide together, which is key to do. Because what you can't do is do it by yourself, which is actually where I'm like in this journey at where I'm at right now. There's a great book called Who Not How by Dan Sullivan, I think his name is, and Ben Hardy, but it's who can help you, not how can you do it by yourself. And I've fallen into the trap of, man, I've grown this incredible business. I'm where I am today, and I'm so grateful for it. But how do I go beyond? And the answer is not how do I, it's who can help me. Yeah. And so it's just now it's a transition that I'm trying to make again as I evolve into where I really want to go. So.
Yeah. I feel like maybe we just haven't been successful enough, but I feel like that will never end. You're constantly looking for, finding the who or people to be a part of your team or support you in your journey, believe in your mission. I mean, for me, feels like it'll go for quite a while. But you find amazing people like we have here who really, it's hard to let go of just dumb little things I did. I'm sure, like, I was in charge of this camera and this is what I did and I handled that lighting. And even for me, just to let go of that it's hard. And it's hard to find people. It's hard to find the right people to do it.
Yeah. Well, first of all, you have an incredible team and I've worked with you for a long time. But what you're saying is right. And what you have to decide is who can do the things that I'm very capable of doing, but aren't going to help us go from point A to point B, right? Because there's certain things that you have to do that you can't really give away, or you can't give away yet, right? But someone on that camera or someone like sending emails or doing an Instagram post or whatever, like someone else can do that. I don't have to be that guy, right? Someone else can do that, but it is hard to let go of that. But the letting go of it, the problem is, the reason why we can't let go of it isn't because we're the best at it. It's because we're scared of what the alternative is. Yeah. We are scared of, and you talk about comfort, what going down the other path and letting someone else do it means is that you have to now step into another level of your own potential, and it's easier to stay comfortable running the camera. It's easier to stay stuck in that comfort zone. So we default back into safety. And it's what I would call an internal distraction. I believe we've got two types of distraction in our life. One is an external one. Okay. Sitting here with our phones, right? Sure. The other one's an internal distraction, which is self-doubt, limiting beliefs, imposter syndrome. And all of those lead to other distractions like a camera, like a phone, whatever, and we get stuck in them because it's scarier to move forward in fear than it is to stay stuck in comfort.
Yeah. It's so true. I mean, I'm thinking of myself. Is it easier to do that edit and just take care of the notes, or try and reach out to a new client? It's way harder to try and reach out to a new client. And I'm sure you could say that about anything in your business where you're comfortable doing a lot of the things you've been doing, speaking on stage. I'm sure for you to change or think of new ways to grow is scary. Yeah. But okay, I wanted to ask you, I wanted to also get into some of your, maybe we can like link to it or something, but your TEDx talk, obviously that's the talk you gave there was about the core of your business from what I understand, which is 1 second of strength. And I just wanted to probe you as to like what that really means. How do I apply that to just, you know, in your talk you talked about whatever your goals are, whatever you're trying to push for. For me right now, it's, you know, having a better work-life balance, handing off some of my business to people who are capable and great, making a change, like lifestyle-wise, being a more focused dad instead of a business person who's working, you know, all day, all night. Those are kind of some of my two primary goals right now. So how do I use your philosophy there? Tell me more about that.
Well, so it starts with right where you started. You have to decide what matters most. And the problem is most people misalign on that, right? Or they believe, well, what matters most is I've got to grow the business because once I do that, then I can be with my family. Then I can be a good dad. Then I can do all those things. But at the end of the day, like from a parenthood perspective, your kids don't care about the business. They do care about food. They care about new clothes and Jordans and all the things that they really care about. But they don't know the business. What they care about is you, right? What they care about. And so if you think about the legacy that you want to leave your family, it really isn't a business.
No.
It's time, right? And time is synonymous with love. And that's where, for the kids, that's what matters. And so to really, from a philosophy perspective, to really achieve what you want, it comes down to, I call it 3 things, the SOS approach. You've got to set your intentions on what matters most. And there's different pillars of what that is. There's faith, there's family, there's finances, there's fitness. But like, and each one of these pillars is going to take a different season of your life, right? And there's going to be a season where work does need to take priority.
That's what I'm going to ask on our SOS. We've got setting first. I mean, how do you balance that perfectly? Because
it takes a lot of communication, but you also have to remember, like, so with your spouse, it's like, well, hey, I'm going into a busy season right now. It's a season where I'm going to have to work later hours. Like even when I was doing the TED Talk, I was working all day at my normal job, and then I'd spend a little bit of time with my family, and then I was working all night long, right, to get it down to where it needed to be. But at some point, that's a communication perspective that you just have to talk with your significant other. Now, kids don't really understand that. And so you've got to take moments where you truly break away, find your 1 second of strength and put down your phone to spend that time with the people you love or do the thing. And maybe it's fitness, right? Like, well, and I think that each one of these pillars, you can't, even if you're in a season of life where you are magnifying one and reducing the others, you can't go to zero. You just have to go a little bit lower, right? Work is busy, great. Load up there, but make sure that when you walk in the door at home, you're not walking in on your phone. You're not walking in, paying attention to Instagram or whatever. Because I think the worst thing that you can do is make our kids believe that the phone is more important than they are. And what a lot of people do, and even from a camera perspective, if I put this phone right here, you can't see my emotions. You have no idea what I'm doing. You have no idea the expression that I have. And we've lost all perspective and communication from a meaningful experience. And so there's micro moments of our day, of our kids' day, where we can just be all in for our kids. And it doesn't mean the business is important. It doesn't mean our spouses aren't important. It doesn't mean anything else. It just means take those moments. My son, he's 10 now, but every night still, he says, You coming up, Dad? Right before bed.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if I'm tired. It doesn't mean, and we are. Everyone's tired. Everyone's exhausted. But every single day, yep, I'm coming up. And then I go lay with him for 5 minutes. But those 5 minutes, even if I failed the rest of the day as a father, even if I wasn't intentional, even if I wasn't there, he's going to remember someday that I laid with him every single night because that was the moment that mattered, right? Yeah. So we can fail in a lot of areas of life, but when we decide what matters most, we set our intentions on that. We let our brain go to work looking for those opportunities. We check in, which is the O part. We observe our behavior so we are aware of where we're falling short, and we have to just take account to that all the time, right? You get home, how am I doing on my phone? We're at work, what am I doing? How am I doing? And then we shift. So when we feel like we are out of whack, off balance, we shift back with our 1 second of strength to what matters most. And it's just a very simple 3-step process to get to where you want to go.
Shift is about just that 1 second.
It's
reminding yourself, I'm doing this. Yeah, I'm taking that action.
It takes 1 second of strength to shift back to where you wanted to be.
And we didn't really preface this at the start, but this is really about putting down your phone. It's also about, could be other things, I assume, distractions that aren't set as your priorities.
Anything that is keeping you from the ultimate goal of who you want to become is a distraction. Yeah. Sometimes that's our phone. A lot of times that's our phone. But sometimes that's a relationship, right? Sure. Sometimes we're stuck in a relationship and, it's just toxic. We have toxic friends. We have people who are pulling us down. Yeah. There's a analogy of crabs where if you put crabs in a bucket, and one tries to climb out, the other crabs are going to pull it back down. When we try and change, when we try and grow, people are going to be a little bit upset that we're leaving them behind. They're going to try and pull us back down to where they were, their level. Well, we've got to do everything we can to get out of that bucket. But what's it take to get there? Well, it may take a hard conversation of leaving them behind. And a hard conversation takes 1 second of strength, right? So it could be your exercise, motivation, right? Like nobody's motivated to move their bodies. No, everyone hates it.
Running sucks.
But when you start, and it just takes 1 second of strength to start, or get out of bed, or wake up earlier for your alarm, like it just takes that 1 second to move forward. And then once you do that, you're starting to create inertia. You're starting to create movement that is really going to propel you forward for the rest of your life. So
and setting, I'm just curious, your recommendations for okay, I'm going to try your SOS approach. I'll try it today. How I could overwhelm myself pretty quickly on setting intentions for what I hope to be. Of course, I hope to be a lot of things, but how do you recommend actionable step for setting the intentions without overwhelming yourself, maybe?
Well, I would start simply, right? And so in each of those core areas of your life, faith, family, fitness, and finances, what is one thing, one shift, one small shift you can make, right? And maybe for family, maybe it is when you get home today.
Yeah, focus time on my kids,
phone is even near you,
Love
right?
It. Yeah.
Put the phone down. First thing you do, go in, be excited to see them, ask them if they want to play a game. Just be dad. Just be present for them, right? Be present in the moments that require your presence is one thing I always say. So if it's fitness, well, take a 5-minute walk today. 5 minutes, anybody can do a 5-minute walk, right? So start as small as you need to start. And then once you kind of get one of those things down, then you can move forward. Because what you're doing actually is you're training your brain. You've got these neural pathways in our brain that we've got to essentially start creating new habits in our brain. And so if you are accustomed to getting home and plopping down on the couch and scrolling your phone or whatever, playing a video game, whatever it is, well, that's where we've got to start and start training our brain a different direction. And once we do that, we'll start to really become empowered to change other parts of our life. So start small, start with one little thing, and just know you're going to mess up. Everybody's going to mess up. I fail every single day of my life, and it's okay, because what it takes is just the next best thing. So you mess up, things go wrong, things go haywire, it's the worst day ever, you yelled at your kid because they whatever. That's okay. Just do the next best thing. Go give them a hug.
Yeah.
Go love on them.
Right.
Try again tomorrow. There's a great quote that says, courage doesn't always roar. Sometimes it's the quiet voice at the end of the night that just says, I'll try again tomorrow. And I just have always internalized that, because all the failures I have, all the failures I do, which is a lot, I do get another chance. So
I love that. I'm going to just set one here with you, and it's going to be, I've been trying, I've got this little, it's called brick. It's a little tile.
I have that. I love the brick.
The brick is a game changer for me. To physically, I set my intention by saying just focus on my phone in general, and I hope that's then translated to focus on my kids. And I love the laying down in bed, reading a book, one thing a night. Mine's going to just be that it's easy. This is a confession. It's easy to like ask my son to play games, but my daughter, just because I, like sports or golf or whatever, sometimes I catch myself not doing it as much. Yeah. So my intention is to also ask her, what do you want to do? What do you want to play? Yeah. And less screen time, take that moment to focus on her. So
the biggest shift I made I love that. Yeah. And I think that she's gonna know. She's gonna feel it. You're gonna get closer to her. And I love the thought and the idea of, don't do what you want to do what she wants to do.
Right. Look her in the eyes and
say,
what do you want to do?
Whatever that is. And it may, could be playing dolls. Who knows? It might not even be something you really want to do, but you're going to do it because that's what matters most to you. Yeah. The biggest shift I made with brick was and the brick is something that locks your phone up, right? So it shuts down your apps. It calls them a distraction. You can't access any social media. You
physically have to tap it, which I like the physical.
Yes. I brick my phone before bed, and I don't unbrick it until after I drop my kids off at school, or now that they're in the summer, until I've done my workout, until I've done my meditation and prayer and all those sorts of things. So because when we give up the end of our night to our phone, we're just scrolling, we're delaying bed, we're delaying all the things, and we're not spending time with our spouse, by the way. Yeah. And then we give up our mornings to Instagram, to people we don't even know. We've given up our day. And so that's the biggest shift that I made the first thing I did with brick. And I do use it for work, but it was really about reclaiming my night and reclaiming my mornings. So
I love it. What I've been doing is on weekends.
I love that.
And I've just been trying to do it the whole weekend, because I've caught myself, I had this literally happen this weekend where I went to tap on Instagram, and instead it was blocked. Instead of doing that, I thought, let's go on a bike ride. Yeah. And we've got our little Rad Power e-bikes, and we got the kids on there. We went for a bike ride. And I think your mind can shift to just doing something different real quickly if you force yourself to.
Well, then you stop craving it, right? Yeah. It's it's such a automatic response to pick up your phone and just click on the app and start scrolling it. And when you get that physical reminder that goes, you can't get in here, your brain kind of starts rewiring. You talk about training your brain. Your brain starts rewiring, going, okay, well, I shouldn't even pick it up. I can't even do anything. I'll do something else. So, which led to exactly what you said you wanted to accomplish, and what mattered most. It led to intentional time with your family. Yeah. That made the day, right?
Totally. So, yeah. Well, I could go on and on about, I love just aiming to be more intentional, setting a goal that is in those 4 pillars. And then, what's also beautiful about just the concept of your entire business, which is just go for it. Yeah. The 1 second, just have the hard conversation, do your best with it, and move forward. I'm sure just because you take that 1 second of strength doesn't mean it's always going to be easy, but at least you're giving it your best.
Yeah, it's never easy, but I decided that I don't want to live my life with regret. Yeah. Regret with family, regret with business. I can go get a new job tomorrow, but what if I never tried? There's a quote I've been thinking of this morning that's you talk a lot is and any entrepreneur out there knows, you're kind of building the plane as you go. Like you're figuring it out. You have no idea what you're doing. You're just moving forward. I would rather build the plane while I'm flying in the air than be stuck in the hangar wondering what freedom looks like.
Yeah. No.
I would hate that.
No question.
So like to be 1 year removed from quitting my job and becoming a motivational speaker and growing in that way, like if I went back 1 year today and didn't have that hard conversation with my boss, I'd still be there.
Yeah.
And it was a great place. Like I'm not like I would never disparage the place. I have wonderful relationships, great place. But I wouldn't be where I'm at today.
Yeah, and I think isn't that like no matter what comes financially or if the business works out, that's what I'm also trying to really learn is that even if you fail or don't hit exactly what you're picturing, like at least you went for it.
Yeah.
And at least you did it and at least you don't live with that regret. And staying in business like for 1 year on your own is a massive success. And I need to do a better job of just being proud of your own self for just saying, look, I did it. I'm following what I wanted to do. Because it's easy to beat yourself up if you think, oh, well, X, Y, and Z isn't working out after I took that risk. So I love that. Okay. I don't want to push you too long here. So give me, I want to switch last question for me. I want to hear I guess, speaking of regret and, I want to ask the hard, what it is about that's been hard. You had that 1 second of strength. Yeah, you did it. It sounds fluffy. It sounds nice. It sounds like everything worked out.
Yeah.
And you're killing it and you're doing it. But, what's really been hard for you? What do you feel like has been a struggle in your business or something that you wish maybe you would have done differently as just an entrepreneur?
Yeah, I don't know if I'd do anything differently because I'm where I am, right? And we talk about success, but like I feel like a failure most days. There's a Ben Rector song called "What Makes a Man," and the second verse says, "If I'm honest, I'm plagued by the fear that I'm not enough." And that line has always hit me to the core. Because if I'm honest, that's what I'm afraid of. I'm afraid that I'm not enough. And what's been hardest for me in this transition is the ebbs and flows, where, as a speaker in schools, there's not very many schools that are in session in the summer, right?
Yeah.
And so you're watching your bank account go down while you're trying to drum up business for the future. And at the same time, and even being a motivational speaker who speaks about mental health and resilience and all the good things, I'm sitting here going, I'm not good enough. What's happening here? And so the hardest thing for me is probably the mental side of building this business. And I didn't know how hard mentally it would be.
Yeah.
But I'm also able to go back to the basics of do your workout, listen to something motivational, work on yourself, and then do all you can to get to where you want to go, right? Because at the end of the day, there's things I can't control. I can't control that schools are in session in the summer. I can't control if somebody calls me, a school principal or a counselor, and says, hey, can you come and speak? I can't control any of that. But there's things that I can control. And if you always do what you can control, even if it doesn't result in success or the definition of success, then isn't that enough? Haven't you done enough? And so I think that for me is probably the hardest thing. And if I had a 2.0 to that, it's probably just going back to something you and I talked about before, which was who can help me, not can I do it myself. Yeah. I'm notorious, and I've grown something incredible over the last 5 years that I'm so proud of, but I can't get to the next level by myself, and it's really hard to let go of the things that I know I can do to let somebody else figure out how to do it for me.
Yeah.
So,
well, it does bring me peace knowing that even a motivational speaker, a guy like yourself who I'm looking at saying, you're inspiring, you're well-spoken, you're helping people, find inspiration and move forward, that sometimes you don't even feel that as that guy does kind of bring me some peace in a weird way. Because it just shows that, like, we're all human and we're all, even the positive motivational speaker feels that worry and that.
I think if somebody isn't, honest in that, and struggling through, then it's everyone. You're not human, right? Like everybody has to be dealing with that and struggling with that on some level. And it doesn't really matter who you are. But are you willing to move forward despite the feeling of insecurity or feeling like an imposter? And I think that that's probably the separator between, people who are really successful, people who take their businesses to the next level or whatever, is the people who move on despite the struggle, despite the pain, despite the inadequacy to get to where you want to go. So,
and I guess that, that's kind of your system in the first place, right? It's like, well, you're feeling some sort of inadequacy or want to be better, so set it and go for it. I mean, in some ways, it's just like your SOS is just, that is what it starts with.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So, okay. I would love to pick your brain on more, but let's get into our hot topic round. I should have prepared a better hot topic. I don't even have one off the top of my head, so I just want to throw it out to you. Did you have any good? Just call it like a LinkedIn work debate here. We want to be controversial enough that it's not like we're not offending too many people here, but something semi-controversial. You have anything off the top of your head?
I hate LinkedIn, if that's controversial.
That's a good one.
I hate LinkedIn.
LinkedIn or not LinkedIn?
So I recently started doing a little bit more on LinkedIn because as an entrepreneur, I feel like I need to be a little bit present there.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. I think that when you talk about social media and you talk about like people posting perfect pictures of perfect, whatever, like everything's got to be Instagram worthy. I think that the worst people that fall into that trap are on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
I think LinkedIn is just a way and it's probably because it's business and everyone's trying to posture for their next position or whatever it is. It is the most ick of all the social media that I could possibly
It was what's the most ick social media, because irrelevant to your work, you would put it as LinkedIn.
Well, for teenagers, no, but for people
over the age of 18, 21.
I think it's so icky. It's just, I think it's pretty icky. Now, Snapchat, TikTok, there's a lot of really bad social media that's out there. And it really comes down to how you use it and how you let it impact you. But I don't know. LinkedIn is the worst. I hate it.
I'm right there with you. If I could rank my number one worst, I'm not using Snapchat or other things, but it would probably be LinkedIn.
Yeah.
But I get it. Sure, you got a network. It's a business.
You got to show how great you are. Someone's looking. Someone's whatever. But I don't know.
I get it. Okay. Then let me just throw out a couple other ones off the top of my head.
Okay.
For maybe this is just a tip, though. This is just a hot topic tip. We talked about Brick for advocating, distractions. Any other hot topic tips, like physical devices or gadgets that you recommend for distraction?
I think the biggest one is you really just have to keep your phone away from you.
Simple as that.
So Brick does it, and you've got to have your phone there. But at the end of the day, if it is physically not within arm's reach, you won't spend time on it. That's proven 100%.
Just
if it is
literally
not
get it out of your reach physically.
Well, what happens is when you even see your phone, it releases dopamine into your brain.
Which
you
is crazy.
Immediately start, you're like, oh,
We're like
and then
a dog just salivating.
It is, right? Yeah. And so then you're going, well, I wonder if anyone's messaged me on Instagram, and no one has, by the way. But I wonder if I got a like. I wonder if this. I wonder if anyone on LinkedIn commented on my post and wants my business. So we start, and then we start checking it, or like maybe even worse, you're like, hey, let me just check the weather, and like 25 minutes later, you're like, what was I doing on this thing, right? Well, it's because you spend all your time scrolling instead. So I think the number one tip is just don't have it near you, right? Yeah. And so I like Brick because it helps you focus in a moment, right? It's a pattern interrupt. It like stops and breaks it. But there's nothing to interrupt if you literally don't even have it near you, right? Yeah. And so, where you say you brick your phone for the weekend, well, do you even need it? Can
you set it in a different room for the weekend?
Who's calling me? No one calls me. Literally, no one calls me. You should call me more.
Anybody
Can you
calls
please call me more?
But if somebody calls me on the weekend, do I want to pick it up?
No, they're asking you.
It's not like nobody's dying to have some video done for their newest product. It's like I'm not a heart surgeon.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest one. And then from a teenager perspective, if y'all have teenagers, don't give them social media. Like social media is.
This is a good hot topic then. Sorry, not to cut you off there, but what age should I give my child a phone?
Well, ultimately, it's going to be up to you. But I think that
give me the hot topic.
I will.
Is about like you got to give me a definitive.
So young kids, never. If you need to give them a watch or something like that, so you can stay in touch with them. Like I tell kids this, teenagers when I'm in school, I'm not anti-technology.
Yeah,
I'm not. I've got all the stuff. Unless it starts stealing your happiness. And the problem with teenagers, because the teenage brain doesn't develop in the head until about the prefrontal cortex, the decision-making part of the brain, doesn't develop until about the age of 25 years old. And in fact, if they're sitting and spending all their time scrolling, you're actually delaying the growth of that part of the brain. And so I would say young kids, no. When you get into there's a phone that in fact we just got one for my 13-year-old daughter. It's called the Bark phone. And Bark.
I've heard of Bark.
And Gab, I think, has a similar one if people in Utah know Gab. But what those phones do is you can make them dumb phones. It can be just talk and text, or you can slowly give apps as they get older, right? So they may need Sora for school, or they may need some Canva or something to Creative Suite or something like that. So you can give apps. But then social media, I wouldn't give social media until minimum 15, 16. And even then, I wouldn't give social media like full on. Like I would start with something like Be Real or something simple. Don't just give them everything. But then the number one tip for parents is if you are going to give your kids social media, any app that you give them, you need to be on that app. You need to know how to use that app. You need to know the ins and outs of that app, because if you don't, there's too many ways that they can get in trouble. And then you've got to monitor the device. You've got and some parents are like, that's my kid. All the kids are like, that's spying. And I'm like, nope, that's keeping you safe. But what I would say to parents is 99.9% of the time, if you are monitoring their device, checking their text messages, and Bark does it for you, by the way. Bark sends you alerts that says this. In fact, I got an alert yesterday from my daughter. For bullying, she had texted my son on his watch, poopy butt.
Poopy butt. Okay, it's like I don't want to laugh at it.
So poopy butt. Okay. But it flagged it as bullying and whatever. But so 99.9% of the time, don't say anything to your kids. They're going to do stupid stuff on their phones. They're going to be teenagers. Yeah. But what you need to do is be able to go in there and redirect them and help and guide them when there's dangers, when there's important things. But the piece of that that's important is when they do mess up, and they will, and you did when you were a kid as well.
Sure.
Don't freak out. Because when you freak out, you break trust. And when you break trust, you lose them forever. So
Yeah, we have a Gab watch. I think with my son and daughter, I think of just like devices with YouTube or whatever where they could jump into anything really. So, the device debate. That's a good hot topic though. Like what age? I see 7-year-old girls with my daughter's going to dance class, that full on smartphones, and I'm just like,
yeah.
Maybe I'm old school, but that is not.
I've spoken in kindergarten, and they'll raise their hand. I'll be, hey, how many of you have a smartphone? And 50% will raise their hand.
Yeah.
The other hot topic is my 13-year-old's like, hey, can I create a YouTube channel?
Ooh.
Which I have so many thoughts on. But
well, let's just give a quick yes or no then.
Well, so for us, I think it's going to be, and I'm
Yeah.
I'm a safe tech guy, right? But I think it's actually going to be a yes.
Okay.
But parent owned. Mm-hmm. I know beforehand what kind of posts you want to create or what kind of content, and I'm approving it as it goes. You're not going to do any vanity type stuff or whatever.
Yeah.
But here's the number one reason. As much as I'm an advocate of keeping kids safe, I'm also an advocate of creation and growth.
Yeah. Amen.
And in the world today, I would much rather my daughter create something than consume something on YouTube. And so if you're going to create, and I'll help you, I would rather you do that than sit there and just watch other people, you know?
Totally.
Like my kids will watch Dude Perfect, and they're like, why don't you go
make your own?
Do that. Go create those videos. Post them on social media. Fine, I'll do it. I'll post them with you. Let's do something fun instead of watching other people be successful and live their life. So that, I think, is the root of why I'm probably a yes.
Yeah.
Let me help you create instead of watching other people. I struggle with that.
Yeah. Yeah. Amen. My short answer, I'm a yes on YouTube if they're creating and doing something that is fun for them, and you learn so much too. Okay, those were good hot topics. I'm drawing us too long.
It's been great though.
No, thank you, Tanner. And you're like, I've never given a shout out on our little podcast here to go watch something, but I would just say go watch. At a bare minimum, I watched a couple of Tanner's videos of him on stage, but your TEDx, super inspiring, really concise and to the point of how we take action. And it inspired me to think about just how I'm distracted. And I think if you got to remind yourself of that constantly. It's also inspiring to hear your story as a business owner. And I think you're a perfect example of just no matter where you are in your career, I look at you like you've already had this long, successful career, and you can still go out and make this happen, which is super cool, super exciting, and fun to watch. So
yeah, appreciate that.
Thanks for joining me. Signing off until next time.
Thank y'all.